Hey there everybody, how you doing? Nico, aka Scarlet Moon, back here so soon with a very special talk I think we need to have. Now, just be forewarned, this is actually a talk that I've been meaning to have for about the last 4.5 to 5 weeks. And I had a couple of other videos that would have, really connected in the subject matter, but I'm also following, I guess you could say, a bit of a prompt, a bit of an urging from spirit that's also shown up in, I guess you could say, some external manifestations as well. And I think a lot of it has to do with sort of, elucidating on what exactly I'm here to do, what my role is, and helping people get a bit of clarity on some things that may have been actually troubling them, or maybe even precluding, their ability to sort of connect with where they need to be connecting when it comes to either their spiritual path or maybe what they are projecting into their understanding of a spiritual path to be. How do they get in touch? But also at the same time, what you need to expect from me, Scarlet Moon, Nico, what you need to understand about what's going on here. It's kind of interesting because, let me take you back. At the end of July, beginning of August, I was riding a powerful high. I was really jacked in, and a lot of you have also noticed that over the course of the last year, pretty much almost all of 2019, but even going back, I've been sort of in this interesting incline when it comes to my spiritual work. And I've actually been really kind of hitting my groove and really sort of getting on my track, so to speak, and really kind of developing sort of the embodiment of this role that I start to understand. I've been doing my whole life, but how to actually also sort of reach out and kind of tap into that grid. And it's really affected me in a lot of ways, in ways that are overwhelmingly positive. And I actually was getting all kinds of urges, from spirit, from my own guidance, to start talking about it, to explain, to elucidate, to clarify exactly what I'm doing, what this role is. Not only so that people understand, where I'm coming from, but also to understand that there is this part of the path for certain people, and that there is, a need for maybe other people who might be going through the same thing to hear it put in a different context. Now, I didn't do that. I got really busy. And then I ended up sort of in a weird spot where I started seeing a lot of different things expressing in my life as far as, a completely different wave of people, lots of, confrontational energies. I've also noticed that I was attracting a lot of people that were complete opposites of what I was working with in July. In July, I was tapping in and, kind of really reaching this sense of, okay, I've actually kind of almost created this grid connection to a lot of what I would consider to be like soul kin. Your family monad, so to speak. Not necessarily like karmic-y, soulmate, twin flamey kind of stuff, but, people that are ultimately, again, a part of that role, a part of that, I guess you could say, bodily function in the spiritual universe sense. And then it stopped. And it took me a while to kind of realize what was really going on. I didn't make this video. And that was the problem. I didn't talk about it. I didn't actually come out and say what I was already getting an urging to talk about. So not necessarily as a punishment, but I think as sort of a push and an alert, I started experiencing a lot of things, again, through my spiritual work that made me understand, okay, look, you had gotten into a place where you were connecting and getting into this place where you were seeing people that resonate with the work that you're doing. But you're not following the urging, you're not finishing up your work, and so therefore now you're going to see what the consequence is if you don't. And all throughout August, I have been noticing that, a lot of the folks that have been coming to me, whether it's through YouTube comments or Facebook or, even a handful of people that I've been doing readings for, are not my people in this sense. Are kind of coming for something I don't offer. They're coming for something I do not offer. And that's because I think that there is sort of a misunderstanding of, out in, I guess you could say, the greater online spiritual world, that all people working for the greater good when it comes to light service, light working, are all doing the same thing. And that they're all healers. And that they are all coaches. And they are all working on personal development and positivity as service to, mankind in a very specific way. And that's not true. We're not all doing that. And the title of the role that has been coming to me constantly for the last, good while, of, what, one might describe me as, or another, like me as, is a Pathwatcher. When you think about the way I do my work, the way I do my readings for you, I'm not necessarily working on making sure that you can cope with the message, because I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a healer. Though I have skill in healing arts, it's not my, my role. It's not the profession I choose. It's not the thing that I choose to do right now. Maybe I'll get called to do it another time, I don't know. But a Pathwatcher is something different. A Pathwatcher is like a ranger or a sailor. They're doing other jobs. When you bump into a ranger in the woods, or, you contact a sailor, what do they work on? What are they working? They are watching the path. They can help people who are lost find direction, get on their path, but they will also warn them of dangers in the weather, dangers in the landscape, and give them an understanding of what it takes to traverse this, span of said trail, or this span of, oceanic space. And that's really what I do. So I worry for people who come looking for motivation and healing in terms of, positive, uplifting, smiley, happy people kind of energy, when that can't be something that I do. It's just not in my disposition. And what's funny is that I wasn't even doing that in July. I was still doing the same thing, acknowledging challenge, challenging people to meet their challenges, letting people know, yes, this is the path. This is the path, but this is what's on the path. If you go down that trail, yes, you're going to have to climb up some switchbacks, and there are some sticker bushes in there. Or, yes, if you are going to take this course, through this chunk of the sea, watch out. There are some storm clouds accumulating. And guess what? That's important as well. But as a, again, I'm just going to use it. I'm going to keep saying it. I like the name. Pathwatcher. As a Pathwatcher, even in the services that I give to people individually, my job, as I choose to do it and as I accept to do it, is to help you understand how to find the best road to what you want and what it's going to take to get there. And that is so different than a lot of what I've actually been getting in August. A lot of people have been sort of coming and asking for things that, really, again, kind of come from a place of a lack of intention. When people ask me to do things for them like their own introspection, I refuse. Why? Because there's already too much extrospection in the world anyway. How many people do we know go to readers to tell them what to feel? And, to blame their feelings on planets and to blame their feelings on, cosmic occurrences. These are sensations, but those are not emotions, and those things themselves are not choices. How many people do we know are, however, being displaced by that group as well? Not necessarily the followers or the watchers, but again, the people who are making it seem like all light workers are just sort of, healers and counselors and extrospective speakers, telling you, and categorizing the truth of who you really are when they can't, because only you know the truth of who you really are. My work is for the people who are on the road, who want to stay on the road, or who want to start on the road. My work is for people who are damn sure they're going to do what it takes. My work is for people that want an adventure. My work is for people that are not afraid. And my work is for people who are actually, they pride themselves on, the work it takes to get strong, to get smart, to get capable, and to get realized. And that's what being a Pathwatcher is all about. Because there's a lot more that a ranger does than just guide people up and down a road. There's a lot more that a sailor does besides just patrol, you know? I'm looking at a lot of other things. I've got my hands in many different pies right now when it comes to spiritual activity. So for me, you know, my role is to work the path and to help watch the path and the territory of the mountain that we're climbing, to be there to help people who want the mountain. I do not work in the infirmary. I do not work in the center. I'm out in the wild, and my work is to help people out in the wild who are ultimately, you know, aware that they are on a road that's going to have some goods and some hazards, you know? And how do we navigate it? How do we find the best path to your intention? How do we, you know, get you ready for what you might have to do? Are you going to have to ford a river? Are you going to have to pack some extra food? How do we figure that out? That is my job, and that is what I like to provide when I do my readings, when I do my classes, when I do my teachings. Other people are out in the wild, and I'm there for them. And I hope that people understand that, because you know what? A lot of you out there might actually be feeling this call as well to embrace maybe a role of being something like a Pathwatcher, or to understand that, again, this is for people who are already out there, climbing the mountain and sailing the wide sea. And if you don't feel like you can work with somebody who does that, then maybe you do need to be with somebody who does strictly provide less, you know, practical guidance-oriented work, and somebody who is working on more introspective, healing work and healing arts. And I think that that is something that you have to pay attention to, you know, because we cannot cross-contaminate our intentions. You know, we can't throw the negative stuff inside us at the positive outcome we want to have. And there are certain things that we just don't need to put in our backpack as we climb up the mountain. And there are certain things that we shouldn't take out to sea when we're crossing the ocean. And I hope this also helps you understand why, when I'm getting ready to do your readings, I am asking Spirit, you know, in this case, the Archangel Uriel and the Goddess Bridget, to help bring energy in that spares no truth that would be in the highest good and highest interest of all concerned and viewing. And that might be tough if a person is not in a place where they feel like they can cope with seeing everything that can be presented on the map for what it is. But I'm not going to stop doing it that way. So I hope you guys, you know, enjoyed this video, or at least found it informative. And so instead of trying to combat or fight or reject or countermand or, you know, do any of that kind of stuff, I'm just going to let you know what you're dealing with. And then you decide for yourself, because only you can. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to format this video. I'm going to get it up as quickly as possible. And I hope that, you know, this helps you understand a little bit more about how I work. So if you want to work with me, you know, and you didn't know I did do things this way, this might make things a lot easier for those of you who've been waiting or wondering just what kind of other types of readers there are out there, and what other types of light workers, or in my case I like to say Pathwatcher, which is more of a light server, can do. Because this is ultimately also an invitation to people who definitely do want that Pathwatcher, that ranger, that sailor, who wants to work with them in pathfinding, pathwatching, and getting the right path for them, to whatever their intention is, to whatever their end is. People who are already seeking and moving in the direction of their intention. That is what this is for you guys. So thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you found it informative. I'm going to get this up as quick as possible, and if you haven't checked out my other channel, Scarlet Moon Magic, I'll be putting up another video on what a Pathwatcher really is very soon.